Hey, welcome. You ever look at the news and just get the feeling that the global economy has turned into, well, a battlefield? You're not imagining things. We are in the middle of a huge shift in how countries use their power, and today we're going to break it all down.
Okay, so for the longest time, the global playbook was pretty simple. Cooperate, open up trade, and we all grow together. Well, somebody just ripped that playbook up. We are stepping into a totally new era where economic tools are being used in ways that are shaking up the entire world order.
And it's a feeling a lot of us have, right? You see the headlines about trade wars, these crazy supply chain problems, countries blocking each other's tech. It doesn't feel like friendly competition anymore. It feels a lot more like a strategic fight. So what on earth is going on?
Well, here's the short, punchy answer. Economic power has become the new weapon of choice, and this is not business as usual. It's a very deliberate strategy, and it has a name you need to know: Economic Statecraft. This is the key to understanding the world we're living in right now.
So what is economic statecraft? Let's peel back the layers on this term, because once you get it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. We're going to look at the strategy behind the weapon.
At its heart, it's really this simple. It's when a country uses its economic muscle, trade, investment, technology, not just to get rich, but to achieve bigger strategic goals. And when we say strategic, we're talking about things like foreign policy and national security.
And that is such a critical difference. Think about it like this. Your standard economic policy is about keeping your own house in order. You want GDP growth, you want to keep inflation low. Economic statecraft takes all those same tools and aims them outward, using them to pressure another country or to get a leg up in national security.
Now, here's the thing that might surprise you. As new and 21st century as all this feels, it's not a new idea at all. In fact, using economic power to get what you want is basically as old as civilization itself. I mean, look at this. We're going all the way back to 432 BCE, when Athens slapped a trade embargo on its rival, Megara. The Roman Empire? They used their control over the grain supply to keep the peace and control their massive territory. Even in ancient India, a famous text, the Arthashastra, was basically a how-to guide for using economic policy as a political weapon. The tools have gotten more advanced, but the game is the same.
Okay, so if this is such an old idea, why is it having such a massive comeback right now? What's happening in our world that's dusting off this ancient strategy and putting it front and center?
It's really a perfect storm of things happening all at once. First, you've got this rise in nationalism, where countries are saying, us first. Then, there's a growing feeling that maybe free trade didn't work out for everyone. Throw in more global tensions, a new scramble for dominance in things like AI and critical minerals, and then, of course, the pandemic hit. And bam! Suddenly everyone realized just how fragile and vulnerable our global supply chains really were.
This quote from the source material uses a fantastic metaphor. Think of the global economy like the Earth's tectonic plates. For decades, we had these huge imbalances. Some countries producing way more than they used, others using way more than they produced. And just like tectonic plates, that built up a ton of pressure under the surface. Well, that pressure is now being released, and we're seeing the earthquakes.
So what do these weapons actually look like today? What's in the modern arsenal? Well, countries have a whole suite of what you can call carrots to reward their friends and sticks to punish their rivals.
And look, this isn't just a theory. These are real-world plays happening right now. The US, for instance, is using export controls to try and slow down China's AI development. China, in turn, can threaten to restrict the minerals Japan needs for its tech industry. The EU is using carbon tariffs to export its climate policies. And of course, there's China's massive Belt and Road Initiative, using investment to build influence around the globe. This is the game in action.
So, given this new reality, how does a country actually succeed? How do you not just survive, but win? Well, there's a new North Star, a new ultimate goal that everyone is starting to chase. It really is the billion-dollar question for every leader and policymaker out there. If being connected to the world can be used as a weapon against you, how do you defend yourself? How do you actually win this new game?
The answer, the new winning strategy, is something called strategic indispensability. The goal is to make your economy so vital, so essential to the rest of the world, that nobody can afford to cut you off. It's about being the only, or the best, supplier of something so critical that attacking you is like an act of economic self-harm. It is the ultimate insurance policy. And we can see a country like India actively pursuing this. Their playbook is pretty clear. First, build up your own capabilities at home. Second, make sure your overall economy is stable and strong. And third,
And this is key: get in the game and help write the rules for new global systems, like digital public infrastructure. It's a very clear-eyed strategy to become indispensable.
So really, it all comes down to this one powerful idea. It's not enough to just be part of the global economy anymore. The new goal is to be part of it in a way that gives you influence, that gives you strength, turning what could be a vulnerability into your greatest asset.
And that, of course, leaves us with one final, huge question to chew on. In a world where every major country is now racing to become indispensable, what happens next? Does this race create a new, more stable balance of power, or does it create a world of fortified economic blocs in even more intense competition? That's the big question for our future.